Alright, let's go back to 2018. E3, Bethesda's on stage. Todd shows a 12-second shot of a coastline. That's Elder Scrolls 6, and the room loses its mind. That was 8 years ago. And in those 8 years, Bethesda Game Studios has released exactly one new game, Starfield. That's the output. One game, 8 years, hundreds of people in the building. And that whole time, Todd told us everything was fine. The engine was fine. The pace was fine. Keeping it all in-house was better, actually. And we sat here going, no, something is broken over there, because you should not need 8 years and 400 people to make one game. Well, last week, Bethesda published a note. 1,000 words, their own website, their own name on it. And buried in it, in their own words, is Todd finally admitting the thing he spent a decade telling us wasn't true. Bethesda admitted they can only build one game at a time, and that they're too slow. And they say it 3 separate ways. They say they're restructuring the teams so they can get games into your hands sooner. They say they spent 3 years building an entirely new engine, Creation Engine 3, specifically so they can work on multiple projects at once, which means the old one couldn't. And they come right out and say they know the wait has been very long. Todd spent a decade telling us the pace was normal and the engine was fine. His own studio just put the opposite in writing. Quick table setting, because the timing here is not subtle. Early July, Microsoft takes a chainsaw to Xbox, 3,200 jobs. Asha Sharma calls the business not healthy and calls it the most significant restructure in Xbox history. Bethesda loses people, dozens of them, the ones actually building the games. And if you saw my previous videos, you know Asha also gave Obsidian their own Fallout. 11 days after all that, this note appears. And understand, Bethesda does not do this. Their entire brand for decades has been say nothing, show a rock, disappear for years. So when a studio that never explains itself publishes 1,000 words about everything it's working on right after its owner guts the building, that means someone is making them show their work. And there's real stuff in it, so let's be fair. Fallout 5 is officially in pre-production, in writing. They've been working on remasters for Fallout 3 and New Vegas. There's a big 76 expansion coming. Raven Rock, a prequel to Fallout 3. Obsidian's Fallout project is confirmed. All of that is good. That's the surface. Now, the parts that go deeper. First one. Bethesda says they're bringing teams closer together so we can get our games into your hands sooner. Sooner. You don't say sooner unless the current speed is a problem. They wrote their own confession into a paragraph about teamwork and hoped you'd skim past it. Second one, quote, our teams are now developing the Elder Scrolls 6 and Fallout 5 on Creation Engine 3, a shared technology platform we've been building since Starfield's launch. It allows our teams to support multiple projects simultaneously. So, for the entire Starfield era, Bethesda could functionally build one game at a time. And everybody who said that out loud got told they didn't understand game development. Todd defended that engine for years. It's a tool, it's misunderstood, it does things other engines can't. And they were quietly building its replacement the whole time. And they say it a third time plainly. We know it's been a very long wait for the sequel. Yeah, we know, we've been telling you. Now, Todd. He did an interview with Jez Corden alongside this note, and he says something I don't think got enough attention. He's talking about Bethesda's history, how they had to change in the 90s, how they had to change again in 2016, and then, quote, I think we're at another change moment for how we support each other and what we do with these games and for our fans. Another change moment, that's Todd Howard, on the record, saying the way Bethesda has been operating doesn't work anymore. Very calm, very corporate, but strip the politeness off, and that's the guy who's been there since 1994, saying the model is done. Jez asked how the team was doing after the cuts, and Todd said working with people for decades and then having them gone is, quote, really personally very difficult. I've got no reason to think that's a lie. He looked rough. I'm not dunking on that. But that doesn't get him out of the second admission, which is Obsidian. Because in 2018, then The Guardian asked Todd if he'd give another Fallout game to Obsidian. He said, quote, I wouldn't say never, but now that our company is so big, it's always better to keep stuff internal. That was the line for years. And now the note calls Obsidian longtime friends, and Todd's talking about mutual respect and always wondering how they could work together. So one of those positions changed. And I don't even think he's lying about the respect. But respect was never the blocker. Being a big company that keeps things in-house was the blocker, plus probably some personal jealousy on his part. But in any case, that blocker got removed by somebody above his pay grade 11 days before this note came out. Bethesda can't feed its own franchise. They had to go outside to do it. And I'm not letting the Starfield thing go, because the note brags about 17 million players and almost 1 billion hours, 17 million on Game Pass, where clicking the game costs $0. Go look at the Steam charts. Skyrim lapped it within 2 months of launch, and Skyrim was 12 years old at the time. The note also proudly says Skyrim's now past 65 million copies 15 years on. So your 15-year-old game is the flagship stat, and your 3-year-old game gets a paragraph explaining it's still important to you. Okay, now, here are the things coming with an actual date. A Fallout 76 expansion next year, and Starborn content for Starfield next year. That's the shipping list. 2 pieces of DLC for games that are 3 and 8 years old. And now here are things announced with no date at all. The Fallout 3 Remaster, the New Vegas Remaster, Obsidian's Fallout, Elder Scrolls 6, and Fallout 5. Fallout 5 is in pre-production, which is the earliest status a game can have. It means people are in a room drawing things. And it's behind Elder Scrolls 6, which Bethesda would only describe as "we're where we plan to be, loving how it looks, and playing it every day." No window, no year, nothing. Schreier said this month. It's 2 to 3 years out at least, so call it 2029, 2030. And Fallout 5 lands after that, on a brand new engine with a smaller studio than they had a month ago. A new mainline Fallout is a mid-2030s product, comfortably. And Jez asked Todd 3 real questions that day. Will Elder Scrolls 6 or Fallout 5 be Xbox exclusive? Too early to comment? Can we get a launch window? Nothing. What engine is Obsidian's Fallout on? More will be revealed later. 3 questions, 3 non-answers in the interview that exists to reassure you. So here's where I land. This is the most communicative that Bethesda's been in a decade, and I don't think they published that note because they wanted to. You get 1,000 words transparency after your owner cuts 3,200 people and takes your biggest franchise off you. That's damage control with a gun to its head, and somewhere in the middle of it, it accidentally told the truth about itself. Bethesda got too slow. The engine couldn't do what a modern studio needs to do. 400 people couldn't do what 100 people did in 2011. They can't feed their own franchises, so somebody else has to. And every fix for all of that is real. And every fix is also years away, coming from a studio that just got smaller. So yeah, Fallout 5 is real. It's real. The same way my retirement is real. It's on a piece of paper somewhere, and I'll believe it when I'm holding it. Until next time.